People have mixed feelings about Trump. Some love him passionately, while others despise him to the point that he faced a murder attempt on September 15th, 2024. But what led to this attack? Who was behind it? What might have happened if the attempt had been successful? How did this shooting affect the elections? Join us as we delve into these questions and further investigate the details of this assassination attempt. Trump was born into a wealthy family and got involved in real estate through his father, Fred Trump. He entered the political arena relatively late, announcing his presidential candidacy in 2015. Running on a populist platform, he secured the Republican nomination and went on to defeat Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election. Key achievements of his presidency include economic policies. His tax cuts and deregulation efforts spurred economic growth, although critics claimed they primarily benefited corporations.
Today, I'm also announcing that as part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime.
Immigration. He enforced stricter immigration policies, which included a travel ban on predominantly Muslim countries and significant initiatives to build a wall along the US-Mexico border.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history to get the criminals out.
Foreign policy. Trump emphasized an America First agenda, renegotiating trade deals and engaging in high-stakes diplomacy.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Even after leaving office in 2021, Trump has continued to be a significant figure in US politics. He launched Truth Social, a social media platform, and has remained vocal about his policies while disputing the 2020 election results.
If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it.
His campaign for 2024 was also aimed to reclaim the White House, and he continues to enjoy strong support from a substantial segment of Republican voters. Ryan Wesley Routh, a 58-year-old man from Hawaii, has been accused of attempting to assassinate former President Donald Trump on September 15, 2024. The incident took place at the Trump International Golf Club in Florida, where Secret Service agents observed Routh aiming a rifle at Trump. He fled the scene, but was later apprehended by local law enforcement.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
In 2023, Routh participated in an interview with the New York Times for an article discussing Americans volunteering to support the war effort in Ukraine.
You know, yes, if you have some military experience or know people with military experience, encouraging them to come and fight. We have units all over the place.
During the interview, he shared that he traveled to Ukraine following Russia's 2022 invasion to recruit soldiers for the conflict from among Afghan soldiers who fled the Taliban. He also mentioned a trip to Washington, D.C., where he met with politicians to seek support for Ukraine. "We can probably purchase some passports through Pakistan, since it's such a corrupt country," he told the NYT. Routh's motives seem to be a mix of personal grievances and political contradictions. Court documents showed that he had been monitoring Trump's whereabouts for weeks and even left a letter stating his intention to assassinate the former president, though he expressed regret for not going through with it. His motivations may have arisen from disappointment and frustration with Trump's policies, especially regarding foreign relations, like the withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal. Routh had previously voiced regret over his support for Trump in the 2016 election, labeling it a terrible mistake. Furthermore, his writings and online activity displayed a mix of support for Democratic candidates, alongside certain Republican figures indicating fluctuating political views. In a post on X in June 2020, Routh mentioned that he had voted for Trump in 2016, but had since lost faith in the billionaire politician. In many of his recent posts, he has shown support for President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
He had posted on social media previously that he had voted, he says, for Donald Trump in 2016, but at some point changed his views on Trump.
The failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump on September 15, 2024, exposed serious weaknesses in security protocols and prompted intense scrutiny of the U.S. Secret Service. A major issue was miscommunication, as local law enforcement and federal agencies were using incompatible radio systems, which caused delays in warning about the suspect. Key personnel were not aware of the assailant's presence until shots were fired, partly due to shortcomings in the setup of the event's security room. This room, designed to coordinate information, suffered from unclear responsibilities, which further delayed action. An eyewitness also blamed police for their suspicious behavior.
The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on.
Additionally, planning documents had mistakes, such as incorrect sniper placements and obstructed lines of sight for counter-sniper teams. Resource allocation was stretched thin because of other high-profile events happening nearby, which some officials believe diverted attention from Trump's rally. These failures are now under investigation, with the goal of modernizing communication tools, improving interagency coordination, and updating operational protocols to address evolving threats. What would have happened in case of a successful attempt? Political instability and national security concerns. The assassination of a former U.S. president would be an unprecedented event in modern history, leading to a national crisis. The U.S. government and security agencies would probably announce a state of heightened alert, concerned about potential threats to other officials. Political leaders, particularly from Trump's Republican base, might advocate for increased security at political events, while discussions about domestic extremism would become more urgent. Economic and market consequences. Financial markets usually react unfavorably to events that indicate instability, particularly in the U.S. political landscape. If an assassination were to occur, it would probably cause a significant, immediate decline in the stock market, akin to past crises that have impacted national leadership. Investor confidence in the U.S. might dip temporarily, especially if the incident results in extended unrest or raises concerns about national security vulnerabilities. A successful assassination on the international stage would create significant global repercussions. Both allies and adversaries would be keenly observing the stability of the U.S., considering its position as a world leader. Countries that depend on U.S. stability, whether economically or politically, could face consequences in their own markets. Adversaries might view this as a chance to question or undermine U.S. strength, both within the country and on the global front, especially if political divisions seem to deepen. Long-term cultural and social impact. A successful assassination could deeply impact American culture, igniting discussions around gun control, domestic extremism, political violence, and the protection of high-profile figures. It would likely be seen as a defining moment, leading to potential shifts in how political and ideological differences are managed and debated in public. There might be a push for legislative reforms to address the influence of political rhetoric and violence, as well as broader initiatives to mitigate divisiveness within the U.S. impact of this attempt on elections. If the assassination attempt on Donald Trump on September 15, 2024, had been successful, the repercussions for the 2024 presidential election would have been significant and multifaceted. Here's how it might have unfolded. Trump's death would likely evoke a powerful emotional reaction among his supporters, who might see him as a martyr or a representation of their political beliefs. This could energize Trump's base to come out in unprecedented numbers, casting their votes for a Republican successor who would continue Trump's vision. The Republican Party might have adopted a campaign narrative focused on honoring Trump's legacy, appealing to both moderates and dedicated Trump supporters. Additionally, Trump's absence could inspire Republican voters who were previously undecided or less enthusiastic to feel a renewed sense of purpose and obligation, potentially leading to increased Republican voter turnout. The assassination of Trump could create chaos within the Republican Party, given that he was the leading candidate and a key figure in the GOP. In the wake of such an event, the party would have to swiftly come together and potentially select a new candidate, which might result in internal conflicts or a short-term decline in the party's strength. That's all for today, folks. Do tell us in the comments section, what do you think? Is this attempt a result of personal disliking, or is there a big hidden force behind it? And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos like this.